die.
And so that's something I've taken from him, is that at Heights, we want to give our players an excellent experience the same way he wants to give you an excellent experience. And so when we decided to do this whole thing with Build the Bridge, we wanted to bring people together because we all have a different story to tell. And we didn't call majority white programs because we wanted them to participate because that's what they wanted to do. But I called 3 people. I called him because I knew he wanted to do it. I called Coach DeLuca at Olmsted Falls because I knew he wanted to do it. I called Coach Dodd at Eastlake. I knew they wanted to do it.
To 1962, in 1962 I ruptured my kidneys and my football career was over. Not only was my football career over, also was my wrestling career, my baseball career, and my track career. I have another story about that somewhere down the road, but I won't share that with you. However, I'm going to say this, a lot of things changed to remain the same. So back in the 50s and 60s, there were marches like they're going on right now. The marches are a little different because the marches today are more integrated. The marches when I did it back in the 50s and 60s, everybody was my color. So what we were fighting for was the right to go to a restaurant and sit down in the South. We're fighting for a right to get on a bus and not sit in the back. We're fighting for the right to do all those types of things. So to give you a little background, my mother is from Anderson, South Carolina, and she's from a family of 9. My father is from Detroit, Michigan, from a family of 2, and they met one another in Columbus, Ohio, when my grandparents, my mother and her mother, left Anderson, South Carolina to come north because things were so bad in South Carolina. So, if you know what Anderson, South Carolina is, my mother was a Bozeman. So Chadwick Bozeman is my second cousin. So Black Panther is my second cousin. So I throw that out today that even though we're far apart, we're very closely related. So they came here to get away from the racism and all the things that were going on in the South. My mother said when she was a teenager, she was riding the bus and a little white lady says, "It's uncomfortable." She said, "What do you mean uncomfortable?" She said, "Sitting on your tail." So all black folks were considered monkeys. So that's how you hear and that's how you see black folks, white folks do monkeys. Again, degrading, dehumanizing, and all those types of things. So as I was getting into college, and I went to college on a wing of the Prairie Guards. I went there because I had no way of going, and I took out loans, and eventually I ended up winning a track scholarship and wasn't supposed to run. But I went there on a wing of the Prairie, had no money. So I went to that's why I'm wearing this. I went to a little HBCU down in South Central Ohio called Xenia, Ohio, Central State University in Xenia, Ohio. And that's how I learned about Black history. And that's when I decided I'd go on a freedom ride. So this was in 1965, when I was a sophomore in college, and decided to get on a freedom ride and go south to Alabama. Right now I'm telling you, and the chills on the back of I get goosebumps on the back of my back of my neck. So I went down with this idea that we're going to change the world. Like a lot of young people are going to change the world. Not knowing what world I was going into and how that world was going to treat me. Martin Luther King said something, I want to be judged by the content of your character as opposed to the color of your skin. But I was judged, and all the black folks that went south were all judged on not judged on the content of our character, all judged on the color of our skin. So we got on a bus, and we had freedom songs. We Shall Overcome, and my favorite was Freedom. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom. Freedom till I die. Freedom before the grave. So we would sing songs like that. Like you guys have songs you sing to get yourself hyped up to go into the game. We had songs to sing to get hyped up to go into this. So we get off the bus and they take us to a small town in Alabama. To this day, gentlemen, I can't remember where it was. And the anger that you saw on someone's face simply because of the color of your skin was scary. I mean, to look at you and just see, I'd like to cut your head off. Spitting on you, calling you a nigger to your face, jungle bunny, ape, call the girls black bitches, All those things were going on, and all we wanted to do is the same thing everybody else did, to walk into a restaurant, sit down, put my money on the table, and be served. That's all we wanted. But what ended up happening is we got tear gas. I still got a bump on my shin from a nightstick from one of the cops. There were dogs. I didn't get bit, thank God. But they threw us in jail. And I was in jail. I'm a religious man. Even though my son's Muslim, I'm Christian. And I said, Jesus, if you ever get me out of Alabama, I will never come south again. So we were all thrown in this big cell, and the toilet didn't work. So if you flushed it, the urine in the bowel would come out of the toilet onto the floor. So all night we stood up. The next day, the NAACP came in and rescued us, got us out. I never moved so fast all my life to get on a bus. It smelled all the way back to Dayton, Ohio, because we were still covered with tear gas, stinking from the water that we got with the water hose. Some still had sores that had not been healed from being hit. Some girls, one guy got a concussion, got hit with a nightstick over the head. So all those things happened for one thing, and I'm still trying to deal with racism. There's no reasoning in it. I don't know why someone would dislike me or you simply because of the way you look. That's all it is. Charles Drew discovered how to transfuse blood. He's a black man. And he basically is the one who set up the Red Cross. That's how now you've got OH positive, RH negative. He figured all that out. So blood can be used from one person to another. Charles Drew died because they would not give him white blood. He was in a car accident, got killed, took him to the hospital, and because they didn't have any black blood, they didn't give him any blood, and he died. And he's the person who showed how to use blood transfusions. So I'm saying all of this to say to you, there's nothing wrong being different. Celebrate it. God didn't make us all the same. If he wanted us all the same, he made us all the same. He made us different because variety is the spice of life. He made us all different because we all have different thoughts, dreams, aspirations, and things that we want. If we all were exactly the same, what a boring world we would live in. It would be like going out into a rose garden and only finding red roses. So life is about variety, about choices. And when you're out here in the world, because you will be the leaders of tomorrow. My leading days are over. You will be the leaders of tomorrow. You will make the determination of what happens and what doesn't happen. And you will be the ones who make change. But you will follow the line of leadership that's set before you here by your coaching staff. So I just want to share that with you, let you think about that a little bit, and then realize that what you do and what you say matters. It does matter to someone else. Be kind to other people. I know we tease other people. I lost my hair very young, and my name was 8 Ball. Black, 8 Ball was my name. So, and nothing wrong, laugh about it, because I had to, because it sometimes hurt. So even when you're talking to people, be careful what you're saying, because we penetrate, our personalities and our egos get penetrated so easily. So I want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
9